gonna do the bit again now that we're recording. Purvis, to start the episode. Will you start the episode? Good sir, bless us with a fuck these haters and fuck these hoes. Lost monetization, sworn the first 30 seconds.
Thank you for this.
It's okay, we didn't have it anyway.
Repeat what you said.
Yeah.
Now how am I supposed to eat?
Yeah. Welcome to the Unpaid Nobodies.
We're back again. Another just manic start, just out of control.
Just absolute. Like we like to get warmed up and then we just go for it. Like it's just, oh my God. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Okay. Guys, how's everyone's week going? It's cold out.
It's been cold out. Today is like some of the first relief.
Yeah. Today it's like a balming 12 degrees.
I think it's aggressive. When I was walking home from the train, it was like 18 and I was like, summertime. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was like,
so nice.
Yeah, like Saturday's going to be 40 degrees and it's going to be like, that's going to feel incredible.
Yep. I'm going to wear a hoodie and be happy.
Yeah.
Facts.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But, you know, we're here. It was definitely a good week to stay inside and listen to music. So that's what we did.
And we got two
albums to review. So, you know, starting off the year strong with some reviews. I think that's like one of my goals for this year is for us to do more reviews.
Yes, as many as we can.
Yeah. All right. But first, we do have a little bit of news. Purvis. We don't really have any big releases coming out this week.
Yes.
I mean, we're recording on Wednesday. Oh, also, we will be at the Mick Jenkins concert on Friday at the House of Blues.
Yes. We'll talk about that next week, too.
That'll be the topic of next week. But us and the extended cast will be...
Yes. The mini guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, there's not much going on, which is typical for January, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
honestly, it's already been a fairly busy January.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and I think next week we get Benny the Butcher.
Is that next week? It might be next week.
Yeah.
I had to double check what I did last week. But yeah, the actual news we have Smino has been teasing that he's dropping 3 albums this year.
That's a lot of albums.
Don't play.
That's a lot of Smino.
No.
But honestly, he's not like Jid said this. A couple other people have been saying this. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting a bunch of albums. I'm here for it.
You know, if 2024 is the year of oversaturation, give it to me. We have a podcast to run. That makes
Isn't Oversaturation the lost Brockhampton album?
Yes.
I wish.
Is it oversaturation or undersaturation?
Both.
It was oversaturation.
That's why it's lost. It's like it was too much.
Man, I gotta tell you though, as for like the name of like a trilogy of albums you released in a manic state over 6 months, Saturation's a really good name. It's an incredible name for it.
All the cover art was great.
The Saturation era was
peak.
Peak.
That was peak. Isn't that how we used to measure our friendship? Like when Saturation came out, basically.
It was the Saturation era. That's when we met. Anyway, go ahead. Talk about Louis Vuitton.
Yes. Moving on to some other news. The Louis Vuitton show, I believe was last week. Excuse me. Oh my God. Hosted by the Pharrell Williams, who is now the creative director, I want to say.
For men's.
Yes, for men's. And you had many stars that we discussed was out there. We had Gunna, Quavo, Cardi, Yachty, Sway Lee, and several other people. So it's just kind of dope to see the community get together and show their interest in other things outside of music as they naturally bring it in. And then last, speaking about tours and concerts, we have Baza finally announced his tour.
Yeah.
He'll be in Chicago March 25th.
Where at?
And I'll probably be there. House of Blues.
Ooh, interesting.
So, looks like we're going to be a House of Blues.
Yeah, I got a bunch of tickets at the House of Blues. I got a bunch at the Metro.
Yep.
It's nice. It's nice. It's interesting.
I'm here for the fun. I'm actually very excited to go to House of Blues. This will be my first time there.
Yeah, I've never been to House of Blues.
So I'm here for it. But
that's really it.
All the news.
Yeah.
We're having a soft launch to the year.
It's okay. It's good for us.
Yes, we've got to ramp into it.
No.
But yeah, let's just get straight into the School's in Session.
All right, School's in Session. We got five rappers.
Yes.
Not 4.
All new people.
Not 6.
Specifically 5.
Yes.
So we're gonna start off strong this week. We're starting off with Travis Scott.
Travis Scott.
We have not done him yet. Travis Scott.
Oh, Travis Scott. That's a.
He had a good last year. So he's on.
That's a hard one. I feel like my rating is going to be the lowest, but I also feel like I feel very good about it, but I feel like it should be harsher. I'm going like B-.
Okay.
You know,
I'm
like,
gonna go with B+.
Yeah, like I don't think he's like a bad artist by any stretch, and like God knows he's been widely influential. I just, I don't know if I necessarily cared for his imitators.
I guess that's fair.
But like, he's like 3 for 4, and like I have come around on Birds in the Trap a little bit. Right. I think it has like some really solid highs. I just think it also has some really boring songs.
That's fair.
Right.
And we've discussed that before. And it's growing on you too. So.
Yeah. It's grown on me. Like I used to actively really dislike it. Now, like I think it's now I think it's like kind of like a very average album, and I think it weighs down his discography. Because like Rodeo's a classic. I think Astroworld is good, but I think Astroworld has a lot of fluff. And then I loved Utopia. So
yeah, I was gonna say right now he is sitting on a high. So
yeah, I do have to ding him because like I think he has not a great feature record. I think it was only until the last couple of years that he started putting out decent features. Which we'll talk about this week. Well, I guess, but like
we will. He's in both albums.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go B+.
B-. Yeah.
B+ for me, just because I'm trying my hardest to reserve the A tier for the legends. I think Travis Scott could make it there potentially, and he has the catalog and all the extras to make it to the A tier. But I'm slightly withholding a very, very, very high B+.
Yeah.
Jasper.
I give it an A-.
Okay.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because like we talked about the criteria through which we evaluate this, and I can't get away from like career encompassing things outside of music, personally, just like the way I see it. And I mean, I think it's funny because Astroworld, the festival, not the album, was like kind of a black mark on an otherwise pretty great career up until a point, right? And so at that point, I probably would have given him a B, just given like the handling of that and like the fact that it happened and yada, yada, yada. Not that any of that is like one person's fault, but just the situation. And, but then, Kanye did his thing in 2022 and created
what bad could really be.
Yeah. And well, not even that, but frankly, I think created kind of a cultural void in a sense, right? Where it's like,
I would call it a power vacuum. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Power vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that, I think Travis was kind of the de facto, like, pick up the torch and run with it, and I think he's done that, and I think coming back and, like, putting out music and content and, doing more with Nike and other collaborators, Cacti, his drink is back, and, like, all this other shit.
Drink is back.
And it's like when it comes to, like, the cultural, not just the zeitgeist, but, like, the headroom that people have to think about, like, people who are important in culture at the moment, I think that he rises to the top. And I think for that reason that like pumps him back up since Astroworld.
Yeah, I think my thing is, like one of my pushbacks is like that word important. Like cool, sure. Like cool, interesting, innovative. I'll give you all that. I think like he falls short of important because of just like the meaning of like the lack of substance of it all. Right? Like I think like something that comes up a lot when we talk about Travis Scott is like the test of time. And like, look, I don't like, I'm, I don't think like I'm like a doomsdayer or anything, but like it is, what are we going to be thinking about this in 20 years? Is this going to live up? And I do think Travis Scott kind of has some of the hallmarks of like, and not like an artist that ages poorly, but an artist that like you had to be there in the cultural context to fully appreciate. And that leads to like erosion over time, right? It's not necessarily like the lack of substance. It's the fact that when you create this entire ecosystem, then like to truly understand it, you have to be part of the ecosystem. But the ecosystem is a time and place. You know, like my sister's having a kid. If that kid like gets interested in hip hop in 15 years, they're not going to be in the same time and place.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I think that that's kind of true for all
I think that's true for
like
all
eras of music, right?
I think that's true for all artists
Yeah.
to like a certain extent. I just think like it might be like a real huge linchpin in Travis Scott.
True. That's interesting. I guess time will tell, and we'll see
I
what
was
happens.
gonna say the test of time.
I think if he keeps putting out albums as good as Utopia, I think like there is a very solid argument that like no, he has like, you know, I think like this conversation could change, and he's young, right? I think he's young, and I think he's on the right trajectory, right?
Yeah.
I just think like as it is in front of me, that's like my biggest criticism.
Yeah. One of the other things I think about with that, I think about that video that came out when the Astroworld tour was going back for the original albums, like 2018, 2019. There was like this video circulating that was like before versus after, and it was like a video of him performing in 2012 or 2013 to like 20 people. And then it's like 5 or 6 years later, and he's performing to like sold out crowds. I think like that kind of growth also really speaks to like the power of his career over time, regardless of like the substance. I think the fact that people are kind of flocking to that sound or to that form, that medium of entertainment, is like kind of like a thumbs up for him, like an endorsement almost.
No, I definitely think that. I think that's a completely fair point. You know, I think like that's kind of like the push and pull of it. Yeah.
All right, but
So I think like we were landing what like a B plus, I would say.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, I would say high B. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah. Next one might be a little bit easier. By the way, I'm starting to really love like the score section.
Yeah,
it's like an easy like.
I do
brain
think
teaser. It's exercising.
I do think just some Monday night or Monday quarterbacking. You know, like from watching the footage backwards, or not backwards, back like when I'm editing. We have to make sure that we dive into artists that we give A's to. Because like,
yes,
I'm thinking about like think about how much time we just gave to Travis Scott. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but then like when Kid Cudi came up, we were just like, "Yep, A," and like we moved past it.
Like, okay.
I mean, what explanation is needed?
That's a fair point, but like, let's just make sure we do something. You know,
for the sake of argument, yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly so funny that you say that, because the next person I know we're all gonna say A,
Yeah.
but it's also like, what are we gonna say? It's Lil Wayne. Like it's an
Oh
A.
yeah, it's A.
Like, what do we need to discuss?
I disagree, actually.
Okay. What do you think?
I would give Lil Wayne either an A- or like a very high B+, personally.
Oh yeah.
I think that the latter half of the discography has had some stumbles, and I don't think he capitalized like he could have on a lot of the momentum that he had. And then there was the whole thing with the record label that kind of threw a black mark on the discography for a while.
I would probably go A- for the same, but unambiguously A.
A- for sure.
Yeah, unambiguously A, just for his like talent at the craft, his like his cultural intelligence, the impact, like the Carter 3 alone, right?
A for a milli.
Yeah, A for a milli. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
like it's like one of the greatest hip hop songs ever made, right? Like
A is for a milli.
But I do agree that like the back half has been wobbly, and
it's
like
not perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfect, and like.
But I was gonna say it's the same thing we literally just said with Kid Cudi. It's like the back half is not perfect, but I mean, it's still, you got to think about the impact.
Yeah,
It's
for
pretty
sure,
good.
for sure, and like, yeah, I think like Wayne and Cudi are very different in some ways, but I think in that regard, I think you're right. Yeah. So yeah, I would go A-. Purvis, do you go full A? Or?
It's an A, yeah, A-.
Yeah. So let's just settle on it.
Many flaws.
Let's settle on A-, but yeah, Lil Wayne I think is like right up there,
worthy of an
A, 100% worthy of the A. It's just like I think Jasper brought up some good points, and I think that's why we do the grading scale.
Yeah, it's like if the career, like everything, all of his positioning were perfect to like maximize every opportunity he had as an artist, and the music were all banger, then it would be an A. But I think that he missed out on that first, like that former part a little bit.
Yeah. No, there definitely was like a decline, but the thing is, I think he has had like a late career uptick as well. Not super recently, but I thought like the Carter 4 or the Carter 5 was like
was decent.
pretty decent.
Mona Lisa is a classic.
Mona Lisa Smile, like he still puts out classic songs. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, like compare him to like where Eminem is right now. You know, and and
Yeah.
like Eminem is still probably in a better career than
A
part
lot
in
of
his
people.
career than he was 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Has it been 7 years since Revival already?
It's been a long time.
not
He's been
Revival.
around
I
for
was
a
thinking like Kamikaze, like that. Like, well,
Kamikaze's better than Revival, though.
I mean, I sure in the same way that like hepatitis
I know.
is better
I
than
know.
AIDS.
while.
Like,
Does it
Yeah.
really matter here, guys?
yeah, like
Joyner Lucas's one good piece of work is on that fucking album.
I thought Music to Be Murdered To had like some really strong songs. Like I don't think it
Mhm.
was like an amazing album.
Yeah.
And especially considering the flood we got in 2020, like really not anything special. But I thought it was better than like Revival. Like
Yeah, Revival's the worst for sure.
Revival. I thought it
that's-
was
yeah.
better than Recovery. I thought it was better than, you know. But yeah,
Well-
no, so yeah, Lil Wayne A-. Who's the next one?
I'm gonna go out of order just because you just said his name. I can't believe you said it, but Joyner Lucas was gonna be number 5. So let's just do Joyner
Ooh.
Lucas.
D tier.
Ooh, D. Yeah, D. I'm going
I
D.
have no comment. I'm fine with D.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm saying D tier exclusively for defending Chris Brown out of nowhere last year for no reason and like bringing himself into that conversation. That shit was stupid.
No, yeah, I'm going D tier because of the music.
Facts. I mean that's that too, but like
Yeah.
something as
I
little
thought-
as like yeah.
I think he has. I would maybe go D plus because he has like one song video remix combination I really like, that tribute to Will
Right.
Smith he did. I thought was
That
like
was a good one.
I thought that was like, oh, this is like a really cool thing that someone did. I think like it came like I actually don't read it as corny, but that might be because I'm a touch on the spectrum. Like
Okay.
but it's like but yeah, it's a D plus for me. I do not like Joyner Lucas very much.
Cool. I'm cool with the D.
Yeah.
Pause. Moving on.
Hey yo.
Juice World. Juice World.
Hey, don't say anything else.
No, I'm
Look,
gonna
I covered myself.
Nothing
Like,
else is
I
nothing
covered
else is
myself.
permitted.
I covered myself.
You did. That was fucking funny though.
I was not gonna let that slide. Juice World is the next one. I honestly, I'm very conflicted on Juice World. It was such a short career, but it was very impactful. His trajectory was insane. His potential was insane. I just don't know if I would like put him super, super high. I'm thinking like a B- for me, to be honest. I believe he had potential to be higher, but for me, it's a B-.
I'm going B plus. I'm going B plus because like I just liked that he brought like that really lyrical freestyle, like dense rapping back into vogue. Like I thought like making that cool again was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I did kind of miss Juice World at its hype, but I got I got onto him like right before he passed. Like thanks to you. I think the talent level was super high.
His potential was so high.
Yeah,
it was so high.
I'm gonna go B plus. I'm gonna go B plus. I liked his first posthumous, you know, but I think like a lot of them, it doesn't like work out. Like it gets really gross. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go B plus.
Okay, Jasper.
I'm going A tier.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you why. At 19 years old, Goodbye and Good Riddance is like an absolute achievement. I'm gonna put it this way, right?
Yeah,
And I don't mean to say this to shit on anybody, but think about all the other rappers who've put out projects pre-20. I don't think any of them compare to this, even close. This album has aged so unbelievably well, I would say, aside from like the skits and the run of songs on this album. You have 6 just back-to-back, I think, frankly, classics in a row. And we'll see if they're actually classics, time will tell. But it's unbelievable. Like going through the whole thing, you get Lucid Dream, or even All Girls Are the Same, which is like decent. Lucid Dreams, Lean With Me, Wasted. I'm still.
It's a good run. It's a
It's
good
like
run.
yeah,
Armed and
it's
Dangerous,
it's
Black and White.
Armed and Dangerous.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. Like to do that at
out.
18 or 19 years old with like, and have that be your debut project is just like incredible talent. And like obviously the rest of the stuff is a little similar. He didn't have the time to develop a sound, and that's too bad. But I don't think we should hold that against him.
No, I would say I would agree with you on that one. I think he actually did develop a sound. I don't think he had the gift of enough time to make that sound really dynamic and like, you know, something that can hold like several albums worth under it. But like, I'm not gonna hold that against him. So that's why, like, I agree with you. I just don't think, like, I don't think he had like his project out yet. You know, like I'm probably gonna revisit. You just made a really good pitch for Good Night or Good Riddance. I don't even.
I listened to it 2 days ago. I listened to that album.
It's a great album.
Yeah,
I listen to that album
know
once a week.
No, I know it's
yeah.
good, but I haven't listened to it since probably like 2020, 2021. So I probably will. Like,
You're in for a treat. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but so is this another one we're gonna cap out around a B plus for?
Yeah,
I'm good with a B
fair.
plus.
Yeah, I think B plus is totally fair. Yeah, Juice WRLD B plus.
So, yeah. And now that you've made your claim, a little bit of a higher B for me as well.
And even so, like Legends Never Die, even though it's not like fresh relative, like all those songs are still super solid.
No,
I think comparing to the rest
Legends,
of his
Legends Never Die is very good.
Yeah, I think compared to the rest of his discography, things get a little bit stale later just because it's a lot of it is samey. But you compare it to other artists. Like we talked about Joyner Lucas, right? It's like I'll take 3 albums of Juice WRLD doing the exact same thing over anything Joyner Lucas has put out. Like, come on.
No, you're totally
That's true.
You're right. You're right.
All right, we're gonna close it out with a banger.
Okay.
I think we're all gonna agree, but Jay-Z. I'm just gonna say an A.
Yeah, I'm gonna say an A. I'm not gonna do the plus because I've listened to most of Jay-Z's albums, but like a long time ago, and it was just never anything I put on just for fun, right? It never passed just like the subconscious test of like, oh, what am I gonna listen to? Well, I'm gonna listen to Jay-Z. Like even like when he released like his albums, like I listened to them and I enjoyed them, but I just never got there, right? And like, you know, sometimes like you listen to something because it's music and it's there, and sometimes you listen to it like almost as like a student, and that was very much how I approached Jay-Z. I'm going, obviously at some point we're gonna do a Jay-Z arc on this show.
Yes.
So like
we've talked about it for a while, actually. We just haven't
so like, and my girl loves Jay-Z, so it's like I'm going to get more and more into him, and like just thinking critically, like like his shit's awesome.
Yeah, I mean he's considered one of the legends. So.
Yeah, and deservedly so. So like, yeah, I'm gonna go A. I don't think I'm gonna go to plus, but I'm gonna go A.
Jasper,
I have a take.
Oh, here we go.
It's Jay-Z. Don't say nothing crazy.
Jay-Z?
You're the biggest Jay-Z fan on the podcast, I thought.
I am. I'm a big fan, but I know his work, and that's why I think I'm a little more critical. Jay-Z by himself, I would say B plus. High B plus.
Okay.
Jay-Z with the talented producer Kanye West that delivered most of his hit singles during the first half of his career, you get an A plus.
Okay.
Part of the City, H to the Izzo, like all that stuff just doesn't exist without the production on it. And the fact is, I think that a lot of Jay-Z's raps, especially early, are too like New York focused and like for New York to be of like mass appeal. I think that the musicality behind it is like a big part of what made it so loved. And I think that that was like very much not necessarily just his role to play. So not to say that he is not a talented lyricist, which I think he is. I just don't think that a lot of his messaging is like as universal as it could have been to like really appeal to an audience in that way.
I do have a question though. I think it's a valid take. But you love Pop Smoke.
I do.
Like Pop Smoke is even more of just like a limited New York sound.
Right, but you gotta appreciate the breadth of the career though. Jay-Z's been around for how many decades, and Pop Smoke had like what 3 years.
I don't think I think that was a perfectly intelligent thing to say, Purvis. But yeah, no, Jasper wins. Like that's
okay. I mean, again, I wasn't going against it, but it is something that I've noticed. I was like, wait, but you really like Pop Smoke?
Pop Smoke only had like, he was a flash in a pan, and not because of tragedy, but because
he wasn't around long enough to stick with that style to the point where I could cement him in the same category.
Okay.
The other thing about Jay-Z that I kind of hold against his career is the rollout of the Blueprint 2, which is to this day the single most expensive album ever made in terms of marketing and production, and was commercially a failure by comparison, and it's too long and is like super bloated, and I think is kind of just like not there compared to a lot of his other stuff, like Reasonable Doubt and like the original like Life and Times of S. Carter, like all that shit, bangers, solid, super good, like everywhere. Blueprint 1 and Blueprint 3 both solid. Blueprint 3 is like feels a little like very in its era for what it is now, but solid pop hits on it that were like big at the time. I'm not even mad at Magna Carta. Like that album has like some bad stuff on it, but overall like that was a time and a place for me, and I still appreciate it. And 444 is just like great and unique. It's just that like I think by himself he is very focused in a way that's just not necessarily the most accessible. I go to him compared to anybody else from like his contemporaries. All of his other contemporaries, it's like an easier listen. You know what I mean? I think that's just like something I would hold against the discography.
Okay.
So I say super high B plus. Like respect. Yeah. Obviously, culturally, he like changed the fucking game. The S. Carter shoes, the whole thing.
No, I think you put out an incredibly cogent defense of your points.
Yeah.
Bring this energy.
I'm not upset with that at all.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think about the careers a lot, man. Yeah. Just wait till we get Kanye on here. There's gonna be like a half-hour breakdown.
That's what I said. I am genuinely enjoying like
when Kanye happens, like, we shut down the rest of the episode.
It's
time. Yeah, like hit the red button. We're finally doing it.
Like the bomb sirens going off. All right. So let's get to our reviews.
Yes.
All right. Should we start with the tumultuous one?
We can start whatever one you want. I do not care.
Let's start with Insano.
Okay.
Insano. All right. So Kid Cudi's. I have no idea what number album this is. Is this 10th, 11th, something like that? Like.
All right. Stop counting.
Do we count Intergalactic?
I don't know.
I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's an album.
All
right. Hold on. Man on the Moon 2, Didicud.
Yes.
Satellite Flight. Speed and Bullet.
Yes. Passion Pain.
Man on the Moon 3?
Do we count Kids See Ghost?
Do we count Watch the Throne and Kanye's? Because that's like the same kind of thing.
No, I agree that there's the same
count What a Time to Be Alive?
We do not.
Okay, so Passion Pain, Man on the Moon 3, Intergalactic, and
Insano.
Here we are, Insano 9.
9. Okay, so 9 studio album, I think.
Long
we reckon.
Give or take one.
Yeah. And
we've made it.
Yeah, we made it. 9. Came out last week.
How old is Kid Cudi? Kid Cudi is 39.
He's 39, yeah.
He's not a kid.
He's up there.
He's about to turn 40.
Yeah.
On the 30th.
Yeah.
Can I tell you both something crazy super quick?
Here we go.
Okay.
This is not a hot take. It's just like something I've realized. I think of them as being in such different eras of music, but he and Frank Ocean are like within I think 2 or 3 years of each other in age. And I know that like Frank Ocean started in 2009 with, fucking Nostalgia Ultra and whatever, but like Cudi I just think of as being like prior, like because the Jay-Z, the Kanye era of like classic early shit.
Frank Ocean had an entire career before Nostalgia Ultra because he was a songwriter.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just like I think of like his solo career as being like removed from that, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind we have like 2 Frank Ocean albums to constantly repeat over and over compared to like 9 Kid Cudi.
100%. Yeah, it like keeps him in that place in time. Also, Brandon, show the people your shirt.
Oh, true.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, no, I don't really even wear it. This is mostly Rachel's shirt now. But for this podcast, I got it. Yeah, it was.
I was able to take it back.
It was the one that came with the Man on the Moon 2 CD back in the day.
Damn.
I refuse to let it go.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
So, yeah, needless to say, big Kid Cudi fan. However, I will say I'm also very critical of missteps he's had. Although I also think like it has been like non-linear, I thought Man on the Moon 3 was a huge success for Kid Cudi.
Yes.
I thought Kids See Ghosts was a huge success. I know he doesn't count as part of his discography, but like I think it was a huge success for him. I think Intergalactic was compared to what we're talking about today, like pretty cool and like interesting. So yeah. But I gotta say, like, this is a myth for me. Like, I did not,
You say a myth or
a
a myth?
myth.
Okay.
Right? Like, it's just like it's not the worst thing I've heard from Kid Cudi by far. But I don't know, man. This is probably one of the harder albums I've had to get through for the podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, the more I listen to it, the more I agree. This has been the weirdest launch for a Kid Cudi album for me because all three of us are like really big fans of Kid Cudi overall. So even coming into this, based off the singles we heard, my expectations honestly wasn't even that high. I would have settled for like okay, to be honest. If I had like 4 or 5 good songs, I think I would have been like, okay, this is what it is. This is where we are in this point of his career. But with that being said, I don't even know if he really met my expectations.
Yeah. I mean, I had like pretty tame expectations. Because I also can't ignore like the elephant of context that is like, oh, this is releasing in January. I wonder why that is. Not that everything that releases in January is bad, but it's like, and not that this is bad, but it's just like definitely felt like just a very unimpressive bouts and just like kind of repetitive and a slog. It didn't like offend me the way Speeding Bullet to Heaven did. And, I don't think it quite bored me as much as like Satellite Flight, but it was just like there were a couple songs on it I enjoyed, but for the most part, it was just kind of difficult to get through.
Well, Jasper, you haven't spoken yet. Well, what do you think in terms of like coming into the album? What were your expectations?
I don't know that I necessarily went in with expectations because he was so vocal about it being like, I'm doing something different. I'm gonna change things around. It's not gonna be Man on the Moon 4, like yada yada yada. And I was
definitely not Man on the Moon 4.
He did.
We know. We know.
It's definitely not Man on the Moon 4. He's right.
And the other thing that he said was, he's like, I'm having so much fun just like branching out and like making it and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, if it's like something that you're passionate about and you enjoy it, then surely that's got to like transfer through somewhere and be like, maybe not infectious, but like apparent. And I would say that is. I think that this album is like critically, obviously not the best of his. We've seen the highs and the lows of the discography. But at the same time, it doesn't have. It's not like it's definitely not lifeless. It's definitely not like. I wouldn't say it's boring. There are low parts that are like a little derivative, I would say, of like where the rest of the songs kind of go and the energy that they have. But overall, like I enjoyed going through it. It does feel a little long, even though it's only an hour, just because I think of the number of tracks. But overall, I'm not necessarily mad at it. Like I wouldn't put this below, say, like, I don't know. This might be tied for me with Passion Pain. Passion Pain is a project that I actually really like for like very different reasons. And it took time. Like when I started listening to it, I didn't really appreciate it. It had a long ass runtime. And to an extent, Indiecud was the same way, because Indiecud has some absolute classics on it, but it's also very long, and it's a commitment to listen to.
Yeah.
And this kind of feels like that, but just like in a totally different context. And obviously, we don't know if any of these songs are going to really age all that well yet.
No, we don't.
Wow, Passion Pain was an hour and a half?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. Well, it's the first thing he put out I guess he put it out in 2016, very end of 2016, and then he put out Speeding Bullet in like early 2015, I think. Yeah. So it was like almost 2-year gap. Yeah.
December 4th, 2015 for Speeding Bullet.
Oh, so it was about a year. Never mind.
December 16th, 2016 for Passion Pain.
Yeah, because I remember him talking about it. I remember him saying that like Passion Pain was like a bunch of stuff that he was experimenting with and like playing with, and because people were asking like, "Where's Man on the Moon 3? Where's Man on the Moon 3?" And he was like, "Oh, it's coming." And I think he turned around and basically was like, "You know what? I want these songs for like a different project." I think that was like his Birds in the Trap moment. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like my thing with Passion Pain and Demon Slaying is I think it's a very rocky and inconsistent album. I think there are some highs on it. Like I like Surfin', I think is the song.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know,
last song.
Probably.
Yeah, there's a handful of songs I like on Passion Pain and Demon Slaying. But like that is the one that should be called Insano because it kind of goes all like it really is like more experimental and kind of goes all over the place. I think Insano is certainly more consistent. I do not think there are parts that are as excruciating for me to get through as Passion Pain, but at the same time, like there also isn't the same highs for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
That's
for
fair.
me personally, you know,
That's fair. Yeah, totally.
yeah, like because this is just like, you know, Passion Pain is all over the place, and I think it mostly kind of flops, but it is all over the place, right? This I feel like is kind of like a very monotone, like kind of generic, upbeat party Kid Cudi, which
Yeah.
I don't mind as like 4 or 5 songs on an 18-song project like Man on the Moon, you know. And I think there are a handful of really good ones on this project. I just think like it gets lost in the sauce, man. I think it gets lost in the sauce real bad this week.
Can I share a take with you?
Here we go.
Okay.
I think that all of our criticisms are totally valid, and I feel very much the same way. I think this could be maybe 2/3 the length, maybe even less, and be better.
Yeah.
But I think that overall, the main thing that we're kind of bouncing off here, the like sonic shift is a big part of it. You know, he's got like this newer like partier sound, which we haven't really seen since like 2012. And
Yeah.
when he did that sound in 2012, the landscape of music was just different, right?
Very, yeah.
So I feel like what we're seeing here is that like he's not necessarily at this point in his career making music for us or like our generation at all. And he's like trying to appeal to literally the crowd we saw booing him at Summer Smash.
That is
mean,
very possible.
I don't hate that rationale.
I don't even think they would really enjoy this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like
because it
music
sounds
we
like
would have heard
that's
at
true.
Summer
I think
Smash.
it almost sounds like people half a step older. I think this is almost for people half a step older than me. You know, like this feels a lot like old dudes vacationing in Paris music to me. You know,
it's so funny because
Are you telling me that there are fellas in Paris?
Okay. I literally text Brandon, and it's weird. It's weird, like listening to Kid Cudi nowadays because we grew up in that era where we saw the dark side of Kid Cudi, and I feel like he is going to eventually fall into those categories where, like, oh, I love Chance, but like he was in a dark place when he made acid rap. It's like I love Kid Cudi, but he was in a dark place when he made Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
This almost, I made a joke, but like this reminds me like a Sunday school teacher. Like he's basically telling you that like, oh, I've been through like sad stuff, but it's just like up and lifting and partying and like it just the words doesn't match, and like the history of Kid Cudi just doesn't really match what I'm listening to. So it's almost like I'm not even listening to Kid Cudi. How many upbeat songs can you have in an album where you're like, I'm super high right now? And it's like, okay, yeah, but like most people aren't partying when they're high right now.
Yeah, it's not like
how do you go an hour
you get
of
high
being
and
high and dancing? Like it just doesn't make sense.
I don't know. You've seen him on stage with MGMT. we know there's canon for this.
That's fair. That's fair. I definitely agree with that. And yeah, it's just like there's just like that disconnect. But yeah, it's
who is this for?
And the other
Who
thing is that like I don't think the thing is that like it's called Insano, and yes, I will say that it's like a new like a different sound for Kid Cudi. Like I will definitely say it's a different sound, and like not an awful one either. But new, I think, is a stretch because I think it's like a very generic party hip hop sound. Now, look, this is a week out, and I've only listened to it twice. We'll see if I can revisit it. Who knows? Crazier things have happened, but I just don't think it's like that crazy or innovative of a sound. I think it's like a very safe party track sound, and with that in mind, it's very hard to be like, oh, this is incredible. You know, like this is some bold new direction, some bold new take.
That's actually one thing I wanted to cover as well, because I was also venting. I'm starting to not like DJ Drama. I'm not gonna lie. Everything he's been in recently, he's just been irritating me with his commentary. But like,
And-
he opens up the album with him saying like, "Recreated the sound, recreated the culture."
Who's
And I
we?
was just like,
Sir, were you there in 2007 when Pursuit of Happiness dropped?
but at the same time, it's like, this isn't even that sound anyway. So it's
No,
like,
it's not.
what
Yeah.
sound are you even
I don't know.
referring to? What are
Yeah.
you claiming?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious. Are there like any tracks that stand out to both you as being like ones that you really like or ones that you really dislike? Because I could think of a few that I go both ways on.
Oh, I have a few that I liked for sure.
Should we go through some of them then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brandon, are you ready?
Yeah.
Some of the ones you were referring to.
So the one I liked "Wow" with A$AP Rocky.
Yeah.
Yes.
That made it
was
in my
one.
likes.
I liked "Keep Bouncing."
Yeah.
I thought "Too Damn High" was funny and like in a laughing with him kind of way.
Yeah.
And "At the Party" I thought was pretty good.
At the Party is one that grew on me because that was a single and I didn't care for it when I first heard it. And in the context of the album, I think it really works.
Yeah. I also liked "Blue Sky" and "Hit the Streets in My Nikes."
Blue Sky is really nice.
Yeah.
Blue Sky is what made me think of that MGMT, him dancing. That is the perfect song of him dancing on stage.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of like some of the more like upbeat music on Intergalactic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking
Like
of
that
Lil
guitar riff.
Wayne, I didn't love the Lil Wayne appearance on here.
A
Yeah.
lot of the features actually were not good on
I
it.
did
Besides
not-
A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, I like Travis Scott's inclusions, believe it or not.
Yeah, his
Like,
are decent.
I'm a very harsh Travis Scott feature guy, but
Yes.
no, I like Travis
At
Scott's
the Party
inclusions.
was good.
I really did not like the Young Thug feature.
Yeah, that's not just
I did not like the Lil Wayne feature. Hated the X
Nope.
feature.
Despised it.
Yeah, it was just very bad.
I like
think-
Lil Yachty's, but it only because it fit in the song.
Me too.
The ending of his feature
honestly,
just
like
off.
after "At the Party," the track list gets kind of brutal for me. I gotta be honest. Like this was like when it got brutal. Portia Topless, I think, was like a warm pool at the end of a desert where it's like it's not
almost like I'm familiar with this.
like
That's
it's
it.
not a bad song. It's not a bad song. I liked seeing it live, but just I just don't love it, you know. But
Yeah.
it was better than like the previous 5 or 6 tracks, and then I like Blue Sky and the final track more than Portia Topless.
I think that this album, if you cut out pretty much everything between At the Party and Portia Topless, you'd have a stronger project.
Yeah, you would
Like,
definitely have a
much
stronger project. I think it would still be a project that like struggles with an identity.
Yeah.
And like, or it clearly wants an identity that it doesn't have, which is to be like off the wall and creative. When in reality, like, sure, it's like not bad, but it's also like fairly safe in my opinion. Yeah, so I agree with that prognosis, I guess would be the word.
Neither of you brought up 2 of my favorite songs from this.
Which one? Was it Cut Life?
No, Electrowave Baby.
Electrowave Baby was good.
It's so fun. The way it opens is just different. That's like different. That you want to talk about different sound? I'd say that's up there.
Yeah.
And then I think my favorite song, honestly, so far might be Tale of a Night.
Really?
Tale of Night was okay. I like Tale of Night.
I've been through this album probably 3 times now. And honestly, one of the things I actually appreciate about it, I always wanted Cudi that was like had a little more oomph that I could like work out to, and this is that. So like I'm not mad at it from that perspective, but that's about it. Like it's not deep, introspective, not methodical. I guess it is methodical is what I'm looking for, but like it doesn't have those qualities. So it's definitely a different feeling. But those 2 songs hit. I like that like section of album. Wow, Electrowave Baby, Tale of a Night, Cut Life, Too Damn High, all like a good kind of run.
That was a good run, at least in terms of the whole album.
Yeah, and then to me it's just like, and you know what? I do like At the Party. I think it is a good song.
Yeah,
it is like still not as good as I would want a song with Pharrell, Kid Cudi, and Travis Scott to be. You know what I mean?
Slow too. It's like weirdly slow.
Right. You know, so
it's like you're
good
too
song.
drunk at the party.
That good song, not an amazing song.
Yeah.
I actually saw a take recently about Pharrell Williams where a lot of his beats he's been producing recently, like just haven't really been up to par with his like
No.
Because all of his
actual
creative juice is
history.
all at Louis Vuitton right now.
Yeah, it's
I,
all
I,
LV.
I guess so, but this is a great example of like this is like it almost lulls you to sleep. It's like Pharrell, you're supposed to be one of the greatest producers ever, and it's
Yeah.
like this is a very basic beat in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I think the last like really complete things he worked on were like some of the things he
Cash
did
in,
for
cash out.
Pop Smoke. Well, Cash
Yeah.
and Cash Out is a single, but as like a project like Pusha
Yeah.
T, like it's almost dry.
Yeah. Either
Well,
that.
he's almost dry.
Yeah. He's the only artist other than LP to have produced and Run the Jewels proper song
Hmm.
on like one of the numbered albums. So
Interesting.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
yeah, he produced just the Slave Dollars one.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I mean, but another thing I was actually going to say, kind of building off of that, I don't. It almost felt like Kid Cudi is fighting an uphill battle right now. I feel like he notices he's at the tail end of his career, and even if he's trying to experiment with something new, it didn't feel like he had the support. When it came out, I was talking to Jasper about this. Like, obviously, it doesn't mean everything, but like when you look at media and you look at promoting and marketing for an actual album, the day of release, even Travis Scott himself, who's on both albums, who's more on this album than 21 Savage's, only posted 21. All of the like actual content creators was talking about 21 Savage. And I feel like even the input of what people gave Kid Cudi, like the Travis Scott is good, the ASAP Rocky is good, the Yachty is okay, but like, how did Lil Wayne just like not put in
Yeah.
his best effort? How did Young Thug not put in his best
Yeah.
effort? Why did you even go for XXX?
Yeah. And
Like,
if you are
at
going
what
for like
point
a
do you
younger,
feel like doing that?
and if you are going for a younger crowd, is this the features who are going to draw them? You know,
Right.
maybe
True.
X,
Does
but
it
like
make
X
sense?
has been, he's been
Gone.
dead for 6
For-
years. Like,
Put it to rest.
nah.
So it's just I don't know if he just didn't have the support behind him. I don't know if maybe there wasn't someone there to be like, hey, take this in or take this out, or maybe include this or take that out, or whatever it might be. But it just feels very kind of thrown together. I see the effort, but it came out with poor quality, in my opinion.
It
Yeah.
feels like singles that were
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
made and then packaged.
It doesn't feel like an album to me.
There's no
Yeah.
way he sat down and pressed play from start to finish and thought like these all don't sound the
Yeah.
same. Like come on.
So if we think like, yeah, there's some weak features on here. Who would we rather have seen on here?
Oh my god.
Like not just like if these people had better features, but like who, like maybe to appeal to a different demographic, like a younger demographic or whatever.
Top of
Because I
head,
could think of a few. Yeah.
Tizo.
Tizo would have been wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tizo
Tizo.
Are we saying we're going for a younger crowd?
Yeah. Like let's say yeah. It's like what if he wants to come back and do Summer Smash again and
Yeah,
like
Tizo,
you know,
Uzi,
blow people away.
You know,
Uzi would have been. I was thinking Uzi.
Easily Tizo.
There's a beat on here that really sounds like an Uzi beat. Which one is it?
Shit. Cardi.
I was thinking Yeet for like the
Yeah.
energy.
Nah, I would
Yeet.
say Yeet. I would. 'Cause,
Trippy
yeah.
Red. Like these are all people he's
Who
worked
he's
with.
worked. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Like he's worked with these people before, right?
Right.
So
Don Tolliver.
Don Tolliver.
Don
That
Tolliver
would
would
have
been
been
insane.
perfect.
Yeah,
Don Tolliver on like Tortured would have been so good.
Yeah,
been
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and it just seemed like there was a lot. There was a lot. He could have had Sheck West on like some kind of hype song, you know,
Anything.
like.
Dude, get
Jid
Get
on
Jalil.
Funky Wizard Smoke.
Yeah,
yeah, get Jid.
get Jalil,
Jid on Funky
yeah.
Wizard Smoke because that beat sounds like something off of Forever Story.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So look, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's like fucking awful. I don't think it was, but like
Yeah.
it was a disappointment. And like I don't look. Here's the thing, they can't all be fucking zingers. We'll see what the next one is. This isn't, you know, it's not so bad. It's going to ruin any expectations I have of Kid Cudi in the future. But it's also not so good that it's going to insert itself into my daily rotation either.
I think for me, some of these songs will. The album will not.
No.
No. Dude, I unfortunately forced myself to. I don't want to say force because it comes off way more negative than I intend, but I did force myself to listen to this at like 5 times.
Yeah.
And the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I'm not going to add this to my playlist.
Yeah.
It just,
Fair enough.
I can't see it happening.
Do we want to go grades and then get to 21?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go C, just straight C.
Purvis.
I was gonna say a C minus. This is below his average, like his personal average. I
Yeah.
think, like actually, if you go to his actual discography that we went through, I enjoy almost every other album minus like 2.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go like a C minus. I know a C minus almost like it seems like it's gonna be detrimental to his discography and how I see him going forward, but like it's getting to that point. If I get
Well,
another album like this, I'm gonna start looking at him like I look at Eminem. I'm not gonna lie.
okay. No, keep it real with us. I appreciate it.
I'm
Jasper.
gonna go B minus just because I think there's potential in like the sound. Some of the sounds here, they're not
Yeah.
like revolutionary, but at the same time, if he tightens this up and like gives us an album with dynamics, like we have some of this and then we have some slow stuff, kind of like how we get Man. One of the things that's so great about Man on the Moon 3 is like it slows down in the
Yeah.
middle.
Yeah,
It
it's
gives you
phasing.
that sense. Yeah, it's the phases of the moon.
Okay.
But like what is that song Elsa's Baby Boy in the middle that just like kind of cuts everything down. Like
That's
if we
like
had
the
some
only song I hate on that album.
right, but it's essential for like
Yeah.
the pacing of it if you think
Yeah.
like you think about the way it runs. But like stuff like that, like if we could get some of that mixed in, just like that energy with this and like give it more of an identity, like make the highs high versus like the whole thing is just like kind of all over. I could see like future projects leaning off of this and like improving upon this formula. But yeah, for me right now it's B minus, maybe a B. We'll see how it ages,
No.
and we'll see how they are live if he tours. I would love to see what some of these songs are like live. I'm sure these will be more interesting live than they are as recordings.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chip. Like,
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be the honestly nevermind effect,
that is
where it's
gonna
like
be.
he does it live and it's like, oh, I kind of like
See, like
I
the thing
see
is,
the energies
that like
there.
I've had that exact experience with Kid Cudi because I
Mhm.
went to the Passion Pain and Demon Slaying tour. Remember, it was our Rosh Hashanah moment,
Yeah,
and I was like, holy shit, was I wrong about Passion Pain and Demon Slaying? And I wasn't. Like I
true. We'll see. Time will
Like,
tell, man. We'll
And
see.
I was not.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say B minus right now.
If we can
But
get
like
some good tickets, I'll go.
it's not a B minus and like I'm not gonna go back. Like I'm definitely Tale of a Night and like a couple other songs are definitely in the rotation and they're gonna stay there for a while for sure. This is like if I want to go running and I want to listen to Kid Cudi and I'm not running distance, like this is what I'm gonna listen to. Like this project.
Okay.
all right, so I guess we're landing on a C.
Yeah. Somewhere in the C range.
All right, now let's move on to 21.
Yes. Ad-lib.
Yeah, ad lib. Like, all right, so we have our second review of the night. 21 Savage, The American Dream. Boys, how
I'm
do
not
you
gonna lie.
feel about this one?
Much more excited. I'm not gonna lie.
I like
This one
I
grew on
did
me a
like
lot.
this one a lot more. I still have like some reservations. I still think this is kind of a January album. But I liked it a lot more than Insano, I will be honest. More than I even thought I would, because some
Well,
backstory
what was
for
your
me.
expectations then?
Well, here's the
What was-
well. The thing is, I didn't have any because like this thing was announced and dropped so fast, right? But I guess I had hopes, and like here's my thing, right? Is I did not like Issa at all.
Mhm.
Like Issa album, I thought that was a very bad album. I didn't hate 21 Savage, but I was like, okay, well, he's clearly doing a lot of collab albums, a lot of collabs. You know, he's a heavy feature artist. I just don't think he can carry an album by himself, right?
Mhm.
And then I Am Greater Than I Was drops. And that just proved me wrong. Like I think that is the growth between those two albums was insane.
Huge.
Like one of the most insane growths between an album I've ever seen in my life, I would say. And then he's had a stellar feature run ever since, including some awesome. Yeah, I think Savage Mode 2 came out between I Am Greater Than I Was in this, and then Her Loss, which I liked a lot more than most Drake projects. So I was hoping to see that growth again because I thought he was building with it with his feature run and everything. and I don't think I got it. I think I got a really solid album that is way closer to I Am Greater Than What I Was than Issa. I do think this one specifically is like a huge missed opportunity in terms of not doing a concept album. But something I do think about this album is I think there are a lot of ways it could have been improved and been a more exciting project that aren't making a concept album. And we'll get into that as we go through it. So I do see this as like a, it's a 6-yard run. It's not going to convert anything. It's not going to save the game, but it's, you do a couple of those and you'll end up in the end zone. Right. So I don't want to call it a misstep because I think that's unfair to like the work that's in front of us. Like, I think it's good enough that I wouldn't call it a misstep, but a missed opportunity for sure. Especially because like it's called The American Dream. He has a very famous immigration issue, right? Yes. It is an issue that defines our life, and maybe more so for me than other people on this podcast. But like, so I thought this was a huge opportunity for him to like, deliver something with substance, which I Am Greater Than I Was wasn't a substanceless project, and neither is this, but it's just not what it could have been. But it's still not bad. It is. When I watched the Fantano review, he makes a huge point up front to say that this is by no stretch a regression for 21 Savage, and I see why he said that because it isn't. But it just isn't the progression I wanted to see either.
Oh, I wish I watched the Fantano one. I didn't see the video before this.
No.
It
showed up on autoplay, and I just didn't stop it.
Okay, that's fair. Jasper, did you want to go first then?
Sure.
I feel like you went last time.
Yeah, I don't like this album.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not a fan of 21 as anything but a feature, I think. Like, I've tried his other stuff and just bounced off it. I take a lot of issue with some of the cliches here and like how they're kind of carried out. I think that like the whole concept is pretty cliche when it comes to like just the face of rap, and like, yeah, he has a different story and a different understanding based on like his background, but I think that it's kind of played out. I think that the whole identity that he puts forward for the entire album and then kind of does an about face on Dark Days makes Dark Days feel super disingenuous, and I don't care for that. I think that's kind of like a bit of a slap in the face to like the rest of the project when it's like, kind of such a back and forth. And I don't like his flow. Like, I've just, as a feature, I like it, but every song sounds very similar to me personally. Not like toward the later half, there's a lot that's like, there's like a little bit of differentiation. Travis's feature, I don't think is his best work, and I don't think it's better than the stuff on Cuddy from him, but at least it's got like some energy, like some difference. To me, every single Savage flow sounds like this. Turned around, looked at my homie, turned into a bitch, pussy. That's like the whole, like the entire project. I'm
you're
good.
Not,
like,
you're
this
not
doesn't
wrong.
do it. This doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think
Doja Cat is fun. I like Doja Cat's feature a lot.
It's one of the best parts of the album.
We're going to get into that.
100% one of the best parts of the album.
It was a highlight.
I think it's kind of interesting because, like, I think even though I feel very differently about this album, like I do kind of relate with everything you're saying. I think the first half of this album is like 21 kind of like in the flow state. I think the opening 7 tracks are really strong. And in
After that,
and then in that moment, I was like, oh, maybe 21 is kind of like a Pusha T, who like he has the one thing, but he does it really well.
He does it very well,
perhaps,
right? But then I do think like one of the things I think like besides making this a concept album would have improved it would have been more sonic diversity. I definitely agree that like it is a lot of samey stuff, and like don't get me wrong, Red Rum hits, but like you can't have like an album of Red Rum, right? Yeah. I think like one of my, even though I think the back half is much weaker, there are still songs I really like. I think what was the one fucking wild ass name? Should have wore a bonnet. I think is just like very very fun. Like I kind of agree that I preferred Travis on Insano. I prefer him on At the Party, and I like this
Yeah.
more than the Get Off Me Bitch song.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And I thought Letter to My Brother was like, with the more soul sample kind of vibe, I thought was like a nice twist of sonic diversity. But I almost feel like that is so close to what 21 Savage usually does that almost doesn't count. Right? Like, I'll give him on the songs with Brett Faiyaz and Summer Walker, but like, I wanted to hear more stretches, you know?
Yeah. I agree. 1 through 5, like up through Sneaky, I actually liked. And I was like, this is going in a direction I can enjoy.
Yeah.
Pop Your Shit took me out of it so hard. So hard. And after that, everything from there up until Red Sky, I was like,
Yeah.
Can't do
I
it.
do really like Red Sky.
That's reasonable.
So I thought Dangerous was like the first. So like, here's the thing about Pop Your Shit is I like every part of it except that bar. Every time that bar happens,
it's like, I'm sorry, who are your collaborators and your contemporaries, and you're making toilet jokes?
No, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. I just like the rest of that song.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I think Letter to My Brother is actually like where we get some substance and stuff. But then, Dangerous is where the wheels start to fall off for me. And then like, even though I don't hate Nina, it is like one of the weaker songs on the album. Yeah. I think See the Real is like really one of the harder ones to get through for me. But I did like Prove It a lot. I did like Should Have Worn a Bonnet. Just Like Me was okay, and then Red Sky.
I kind of fell off.
Yeah, Red Sky. I think like it kind of whimpers out. I think after the song with Burner Boy, I think like I honestly would have cut it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's just so difficult for me about him is that like so much of it is like so serious, but then the bars just like do not reflect that.
Yeah.
Like there are just rhymes and shit that just completely take you out. It's either like commit to the bit or don't, It's like, and that's very much how I felt about early Drake. And then when I started to bounce off Drake, like just after like right when Views came out, it was like you're either like singing and you're committing to like that bit for like this particular song, or you're like going hard and talking about your boys and the money and everything else. And like he has that issue, but it's like he'll continue to say stuff that's hard, but just do it with like the stupidest possible bars. And it's like I can't take it seriously, and I couldn't take it seriously back in 2016, and I don't think I can take it seriously now.
I mean, the thing is, at least for 21 Savage, because you're right, he does have the same type of flow, and I feel like doing his feature run, especially towards the like end of it, it is like, oh, it's another 21 Savage feature. And there are a couple of features that we saw on albums at the end of last year. We're just like, it's just another 21, especially the one that was on Drake's album. Where it's just like, you just did a whole album together. We know the sound. We know what you're gonna say. It is gonna be repetitive.
Yeah.
But it's enough for me. The way I looked at the album, it's just a list of bangers, and I'm able to pick them out. I don't think it is a big progression step, but it is no regression in my opinion. In terms of where he sits, at least in terms of like the industry, you have to realize he's coming from 21 Savage used to literally be like the gangster trap sound at the time. Slaughter King, Savage Mode.
Yeah.
That literally was like, okay, this is serious and the lyrics are serious. Like it literally sounds like he's rapping like he lived through it. I feel like once he hit Issa album and went from there, he has a very different role within the industry. Yeah. And it's not very clear for him, or it's not clear for anyone. You looked at his Instagram page, and his profile picture is like the mini version of him with a big head, like in a diaper, like as a meme. But it's like, how are you a meme, but also like still rapping about it?
Yeah. So he also went through that huge financial literacy phase, where like that's like where all he was talking about, which was cool.
Where he was wearing the glasses,
good for him. Yeah, it's absolutely good for him. And like even on Instagram, his live videos, he's singing R&B like as a joke. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're British," and there was an opportunity for you to fully commit. Like, okay,
21 trumpets,
literally. It's like I'm not going to do the full gangster rap anymore because I'm already known for that. let me make something like a concept album.
Tally ho,
And,
lads.
it just
Yeah.
it was not there essentially. But I do like the pacing of this album, although he does
I
sound
agree.
his flow is pretty
The
much the same.
pacing's not bad. Yeah.
Right. It's able to break it up. You get the hard rap, then you get a Doja Cat, then you get the hard rap, and then you get like an up or something more sentimental, like a letter to my brother. Then you go back to Dangerous, which I actually did like. I don't like Little Dirk, but I actually liked his feature on the song.
I
Yeah,
know.
Like, he
I
did
liked
go
I liked Little Dirk's feature. I just didn't
Mhm.
love the song as a whole.
Yeah.
Mhm. So it's good pacing, and if I'm being honest, we don't get a lot of traditional length albums anymore, which is typically 13 to 15. This is an actual like normal length album, and it was very refreshing.
Yeah, that's
So,
nice to see.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that one of the big things also is just like I don't even necessarily mind like the flow and the pacing as long as it's clever.
Mhm.
But like a lot of the rhyming is pretty loose, and then like with that, his voice is just very monotonous. Like if he changed up the energy level that he were bringing to the delivery, I think it would
It
just
would
do
help.
so much, so
Mhm.
much. But because every single song is like almost like spoken word, like the same tone, it's just difficult to differentiate lyrically.
Mhm.
Musically, sure, but it's like the first couple songs again have like really strong instrumentals. Like All of Me, beautiful, like
Mhm.
nice, the chords, whatever else is going on there. Same goes for NHIE, and it's just like Doja Cat creeping in the background doing her little vocal inflections.
Yeah.
She did
But
very
then,
well.
yeah, and then you start to lose me. It's like the uniqueness of the sound instrumentally starts to go, and when all that's left to focus on really is his voice, it just
Mhm.
is not. It doesn't cut it for me personally.
And that is a real or real thing, I should say. There's several artists. Chance was a big one when Chance first came out. Everyone was
Mhm.
like, "I hate his voice.
Yeah.
I like it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just
West Side
some
Gun.
people it doesn't work. West Side Gun,
yeah.
absolutely.
No.
I think it takes time for artists like that to find
Yeah.
like their inflection that works. And
No.
I think 21's found the one that's commercially successful. I don't know if he's
Mhm.
found the one that's artistically the most interesting.
No, I think that's fair. I don't hate that
That's a
one.
good way to put it. Yeah,
You
that's
know.
a good way to put
I
it.
also just think like he's, it's like a dish, right? Like some food is better like in
Yeah.
like bacon, right? Like bacon is great when you add it to an omelet or pasta, but like
Mhm.
just bacon on its own is just delicious. But
Hey, I'm eating
agree,
bacon on my own.
right?
It's
But
easy to
like,
overdo it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
it's
know
easy
what
to
you
very
mean. I'm
overdo it.
easy to
just
overdo
joking.
it,
I'm
right?
just
You know what I
joking.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like not
Yes.
interesting. It's just eating
Mhm.
greasy meat out of a bag, which we've all done. But
Which
like,
we will do anyway.
It's like I'll see you at
Don't
3
judge
a.m. in the fridge.
but
I'll do it again.
You can't stop me.
But yeah, it's like I think he's just better as part of an ensemble, right? And it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Supporting
so
cast.
yeah, and yeah. So we've already gone over our favorites. Do we know like well, Purvis, you're the biggest 21 fan here. What do you want?
Probably, yeah.
What do you want 21 to do from here? Like, where would you want him to go?
It's tricky because like my instincts whenever I get this question is like, oh, I want a concept album.
Yeah.
But I also don't know like
I would
what
prefer. I
he
think.
has to say. Like
Well, this was it though, right? Because like him talking about like his immigration process
right.
is like
It's
the
literally
thing
called American Dream.
is
Yeah.
the thing he could offer the world, right? So it's
It
like
was his
that's like
biggest thing lately.
that's like his shot, you know. So I think what I'm really interested in is like what kind of sonic diversity could we get from 21 Savage,
Mhm.
right? Like, is he going to push his sound at all? Well, I don't think he hasn't
likes
pushed it.
things, so like he can try.
I don't think he hasn't pushed it at all. I just think he hasn't pushed it enough, to be
Mhm.
clear.
Yeah. Someone get this man locked in a studio with Benny X and see
Yeah.
what happens. Like
Yeah.
somebody who will offer a beat that will force him to change it up.
Let me get a yeah. And like another thing is I think he needs to start putting more work into his solo work, I
Yeah.
think he's great on
Yes.
features, right? Yeah, I mean, yes, like we've kind of gotten to peak 21 Savage where we're not like, oh great, he's on it. But like it's not like he's bad either. Like
Mhm.
I have a take.
okay.
I think that his two features on Utopia are better than most of this album.
Two features on Utopia.
Amazon Prime, give him 2 days. I bet he drop on Topia Twins. That goes hard. And then
Yeah.
he's on
The finale,
Till
which
Further Notice.
Yeah, until
And
further
even then, he has some stupid lines. Thought I gave you the keys to my heart, but it's froze. What is this, fucking middle school? But like, even so, it matches the music, and he's like doing
Wow.
something with a different beat.
I don't know.
And that's
I
just
think
not present.
I think like I think in terms of tone matching music, I think there's a lot of that on this project. I think there's Prove It. I think there's Red Rum.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying the cadence. Like the
Yeah.
beat is a little different.
Oh,
so his delivery
I
is a
don't
little
think your
different.
take is that odd. I don't think that take is insane at all. But I do think in that specific point, I actually think we're doing pretty. I think he's doing pretty good on this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So like, I enjoyed it. There are absolutely songs that are going to probably make it into my rotation off this. But like, I don't know if it's an album I'll be revisiting all that much.
Yeah, I'll take a couple songs. That's about it.
Yeah.
Should
And
we do a grade?
yeah, let's do a grade, and then let's do our recommendations to get the fuck out of here for this week.
But
Because we have a big episode coming next week with Mick Jenkins and MF Doom.
yes,
We'll see if we punt MF Doom to the first of the first.
MF Jenkins.
Yeah,
we do have our 100th episode coming up soon,
I know.
like in 3 episodes.
I know. I know. Think about it. Anyway, what's the
Yes.
grade we're giving this? I'm giving this a B. I'm giving this a B for just like keeping tone, keeping pace, having like a good batch of bangers, but like just not continuing the progress that I think he had from album 1 to 2.
Mm. All right, Jasper.
21 could not do something for me, so I'm gonna give it a C.
Okay.
Okay, that is completely fair. I'm gonna go with a B plus around that range. B plus. The same reasons as Brandon. I don't think he took a step back. I think it's just a lateral step. And until we figure out whatever his vision or goal is, I can't even imagine what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. We'll have to
Purvis.
see.
I think you and I are pretty much in exactly the same place as we were when we reviewed The House is Burning. And I think we had very similar criticisms of Isaiah Rashad at the time too, where it's like the album
I'm gonna make you revisit it.
doesn't it's like it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. So for me that's like a non-start. But then also it's like you like the consistency of it and like the pacing of it and stuff like that. And I think that's like it's interesting. I think that's just kind of like where some of our tastes are either split or just like differentiated a little bit. That's pretty cool.
True.
Because I remember I gave that a C, and I think you did give that like a B or a B plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that album, I'm not even gonna lie, that was the one album I didn't rate it the way I probably would have, like without the influence. Because like to me, that's an A album. But like
You should
given your
always just
takes,
give it.
I understand it being a
Yeah.
B. That is the only time I've done it
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Fair, yeah. It's just like, yeah, it's something that for me was like very middle of the road. Like I'm not mad at it, but it's also like it's like eating a communion wafer. It's like it doesn't really taste like anything, but it's also not gross. I don't know what to make of it. It's just
That's
like
a good one. Yeah.
middle of the road. It's
When was the
something.
last time you had a communion rate for Jasper?
Probably in grade school, but I remember it vividly. Yeah.
I think we should
mean,
make.
it's
I
a
think we
pretty
should make
distinct
edibles that are communion wafers.
All right, I'm ending the podcast.
No recommendations this week. Goodbye.
We're done.
All right, Rex. Let's do Rex. Who wants to do the Rex first?
Is anybody ready?
I am.
Go.
I'm gonna recommend "Loud" by Mac Miller. I've been playing it.
Banger.
Yeah, real loud. Like,
Play it as loud as you can.
yeah.
Oh. Speaking of, we didn't even talk about it. Today is the anniversary.
Of.
It's been 4 years since he's died.
Oh no!
Or
Wait, what?
6 years.
Wait.
No, he died in the fall.
No, it was the anniversary of Circles.
Circles.
Oh,
yeah.
Circles.
Or was
sorry.
no Faces. I'm sorry. Faces came out like 2 days ago or something, or like a day ago.
Something happened. Like some
Faces for
anniversary
sure.
just passed.
I saw a thing for Faces on
Yeah.
online.
4th anniversary to Circles.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
celebrating
what,
the 4th anniversary to Circles. Mac Miller's 6th studio album released
And his
posthumous in
posthumous one, yeah.
2020.
when did Faces come out?
Uh,
It's like 6 years, right? Or 5?
May 11th,
Oh,
2014.
never mind. I saw something about Faces. I don't know why. Wild.
This is gonna be the 10-year for Faces, but not till
Yeah.
May. Yeah.
May.
Yeah, true.
All right.
All right, bet. Jasper, you ready? You want me to go?
I will go.
Okay.
My first one is going to be In My Mind by Dinoro.
Interesting.
What's that?
You'll know it when you hear it. It's been in stuff, but it's like, it's very like, not Eurobeat, but it's like Europop kind of like dance music. It's, this guy's pretty well known. Well, Dinoro's like one of the two. It's Dinoro and Gigi D'Agostino. He did the closing song that's in Uncut Gems. Amour Toujours.
Yeah.
Ba banana, ba banana. That guy. So like, it's another one of those banger.
I can't believe I spelled that right.
Good job.
But okay. My first one, I texted to Brandon to have it in writing, but I'm officially claiming it on the podcast. Jita's becoming too big, so he's no longer my low-key artist.
Yeah.
No.
I am now moving on to Kenny Mason. I've been following him since day one. I did not get to his album last year, unfortunately, called 6. If I did, he would have made an appearance on Golden Nugget. It is that good. So I'm going to recommend the song Rich by Kenny Mason. Song bangs, slaps,
Interesting.
hits, all the words. All right, Brandon.
All right. My last one, because it's been so cold, and I've been sitting on this couch, looking out into the cold and reading. There's an album that I always associate with cold weather, and I'm gonna recommend the song off the album that I think screams it, and that is from The Weeknd's House of Balloons, "The Party and the After Party."
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I had like just some candles lit in here, and I was listening to it the other night as like I watched just like the snow come in. It was,
oh boy,
yeah,
you were vibing.
I was vibing hard. Like,
wow. Relax.
No, fuck off. Like, let me have this.
Let me have my weekend.
Access denied.
God damn. Okay. Jasper?
I'm going not rap this week. I'm sorry. I'm doing Talking Heads, Psycho Killer.
Is this another song I would know?
Yeah, you'll know it. Certified banger, classic, whatever you want to call it. It's been in my rotation, just like coming up in the shuffle, and it's real good. So,
okay, bet. Oh yeah. Bet we'll close it out. I'm going to go with what some people consider an anthem now, "Freestyle" by Little Baby. That is now the U.S. Anthem. Absolute banger of a song. So
no, that's Britney. Britney's the national anthem. It's Britney, bitch.
I'm done.
Join us next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
In the podcast. Cut the recording.
Yes. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.